Welcome to today's story time as a part of the Imagine Your Stories summer reading program. My name is Mary Ann Wright, and I'm a 4-H area educator with Lincoln University Cooperative Extension. I am joining the Caruthersville Public Library to bring you today's story. We will be reading the tall tale, Mike Fink. This version of the story is written and illustrated by Steven Kellogg. Now, in yesterday's explanation video, we learned about the characteristics of a tall tale. We found out that tall tales exaggerate different parts of the story and embellish the character and the events that happen. As I read today's story, I want you to be on the lookout for exaggerations that are made in this story. Let's go ahead and get started. Mike was born not far from the Allegheny Mountains. Right from the start, it was clear that he was destined for a life of action. He hated being shut up indoors, and so when he was only 2 days old, he ran away from home. There were rumors that Mike had joined a troop of acrobatic frogs that traveled from pond to pond. Mike's grandfather came to fetch him. "The whole town's talking about a grandson of mine who's been hanging out with a gang of rowdy frogs," he thundered. "From now on, you'll stay home and behave like a normal infant." Once again, Mike rebelled furiously against being confined indoors. He leaped up and down on the bed with such force that he catapulted through the roof. On the next leap, Mike rocketed high enough to see the vast networks of rivers to the west. There he spotted the keelboat and heard the crew's hearty songs. Mike plummeted down into the house singing, "I'm going to be a keelboatman, cock-a-doodle-doo!" Once again, Mike set off a family uproar. "Keelboatmen are ruffians, rowdies, and riffraff," yelled his grandmother. "This new outrage will disgrace the family name forever." Mike's mother decided then and there that her son would be much happier if she raised him on the frontier. So the next morning, they joined a wagon train heading west. Mike loved the freedom of wilderness life. However, the sudden death of their ox threw his mother into despair. "How will we clear the land?" she cried. "How will we plow?" "Cheer up, Mama," said Mike. "I can handle those chores." And he did. But Mike never stopped dreaming of becoming a keelboatman. He had heard that wrestling was their favorite sport, and it was also his. He was not tall for his age, but he was sturdy and quick. Even when he wrestled boys much bigger and older than himself, he usually came out on top. Mike also showed an early talent for riflery. He called the family gun Bengal, and he soon became such a crackerjack marksman that he could shoot the shell off of an egg. Along about the time he turned 16, he entered a local shooting match. Each entrant had 3 chances to score. Mike hit the bullseye on the first try, but his next 2 attempts left the target unmarked. "One lucky hit and 2 wild shots puts you out of the running," chuckled the scorekeeper. But Mike got the last laugh when he showed him all 3 bullets lined up behind the bullseye as neatly as peas in a pod. Mike's skill with a rifle landed him a job as a scout, but he was still drawn westward by the memory of those giant rivers. Finally, Mike found himself face to face with Jack Carpenter, the king of the keelboatmen. "Howdy," said Mike. "I'm looking for a job." "This river cracks pipsqueaks like peanuts," said Carpenter. "Come back when you're 10 feet taller, and then we'll find out if you're strong enough to pull your share of the load." "I may be short," said Mike, "but I'm strong, and I'd like a chance to prove it." "Well, I'm stronger than a buffalo stampede and meaner than a rattlesnake with a bellyache," snarled Carpenter. "If you can lick me, the job is yours, and so is this red feather." "You've got yourself a deal," cried Mike. "Cock-a-doodle-doo! Let's wrestle!" Carpenter charged forward like a bull. Then he hurled Mike hundreds of miles into the heart of the Rocky Mountains. "Well, that set me back a bit," admitted Mike. "But I'm determined to be a keelboatman." He decided to get in shape by wrestling with the grizzlies. At first, those bears rolled him on his back before he could say, "Jack Carpenter." But Mike kept trying, and little by little his strength increased until he was able to hold his own. Finally, he decided to test himself by challenging Big Bart, the heavyweight champion of the Rockies. When Mike came out on top, he knew he was ready for the keelboat job. He sprinted across the Great Plains and found Jack Carpenter. "Cock-a-doodle-doo! I'm back for round 2. Let's wrestle!" hollered Mike. Again, Carpenter charged like a bull, but this time Mike met him head on. They wrestled up and down the riverbanks for several weeks, kicking up tidal waves and toppling trees. Finally, Carpenter found himself locked helplessly in a Rocky Mountain grizzly bear hug. "I'm licked," he gasped. After the orneriness had been squeezed out of Jack Carpenter, he became downright agreeable. With Carpenter's help, Mike got the hang of navigating so quickly that the crew voted to make him captain. They sang and danced and celebrated all afternoon while the boat drifted lazily down the river towards New Orleans. Heading upriver was a different story. The boat had to be poled and pushed constantly to prevent the powerful current from sweeping it backwards. The men forged through rapids and up waterfalls, pausing occasionally to tangle with the man-eating alligators and enormous snapping turtles that lay in wait for them. Whenever rival keelboats met, they would race on the water and play games and sports on land. Men lined up by the dozen to try to win Mike's feather, but no one got the best of him. His hat began to look like a bonfire, and they called him King of the Keelboatmen. Mike loved all the rough and tumble excitement, but he also loved the times when the river was silent and still. He thought that his life as a keelboatsman was just about perfect, and he hoped it would never end. But then one morning, Mike saw some dark clouds on the horizon. He was told that these were steamboats and that they were being sent to take over the river trade. Mike hated the shriek of their whistles and the clatter of their paddle wheels. He hated the foul-smelling smoke that fogged the river as they churned past him. Faster and larger steamboats kept arriving. They created traffic jams at the major ports that made it impossible for Mike and the other keelboat captains to unload their cargo. A showdown was sparked when a steamboat skippered by Hilton P. Blathersby shoved Mike's keelboat away from the dock. "This garbage scow is blocking river traffic and should be sunk," hollered Blathersby. "I'm king of the keelboatsmen," roared Mike. "I'll fight for this dock. I'll fight for this river." "All hands prepared for naval combat," bellowed Blathersby. With whistles blowing, bells clanging, and smokestacks belching, the powerful steamboat charged forward like a rogue elephant. For a moment, Mike managed to raise the prow as his monstrous opponent, forcing its stern under water. But then the weight overwhelmed him, and Mike and his keelboat were gone. A second later, the cold water that had rushed into the steamboat's red-hot boilers set off an enormous explosion. One of the few survivors was Captain Blathersby. He spotted Mike's hat from the lifeboat and ordered his men to row closer so he could collect the feathers. "After all," he said, "now I'm king of the keelboatmen and king of the river." Blathersby was astonished to find Mike underneath his hat. "Cock-a-doodle-doo! I'm back for round 2! Let's wrestle!" he cried. Some say that Blathersby was thrown all the way to grizzly bear country, but no one knows for sure. As for Mike Fink, he still cheered from one end of the river to the other as the undefeated king of the keelboatsmen. I hope that you liked today's tall tale, and I hope you spotted all of those embellishments that are included in this story. Now, if you liked today's story, I would encourage you to look at Steven Kellogg's other books. He has a whole series that features different tall tales. They can be found at your local library. Tomorrow, we will be doing a fun take and make activity, and we will be making our own keelboat and captain's feather. So I hope you join me tomorrow when that video posts at 1 o'clock on the Caruthersville Public Library Summer Reading Program 2020 page and on the Pemiscot County 4-H Facebook page. Okay, guys, I hope to see you then. Bye-bye.